Welcome to my channel, Rohit Speaks. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about why glucose is the source of your energy, why all your systems, all your organs, and by organs means by all your cells require glucose to function. So we're going to talk about that in this video, and hopefully you'll get a better perspective why glucose is required rather than anything else. So going to the next one. So human cells. So as I have already said, all your organs, a human body is made up of organs, organs being your heart, liver, kidney, all those stuff. Those organs are made up of tissue, tissues are made up of cells. So these are all the cells representative in your body. There are all different types, but all of these cells have a common structure or common composite. They contain is a nucleus, lysosome, all this stuff. Okay, there is mitochondria, all this. And why am I saying this? Because we're going to talk about this mitochondria in few seconds. But so your glucose is your source of energy because glucose is converted into it is converted into, I mean, it's a chemical term called as pyruvic acid and pyruvates, we call it, and two molecules of ATP. Okay, that pyruvic acid goes into this. So if I have to understand, this is the cell which whenever you eat food and you take oxygen, your food contains glucose and nothing else. But it's the first thing is the glucose, which is converted into ATP and pyruvic acid. Anything in your body, wherever, whatever you eat, it is broken down. It's when you are digested, it's broken down, and glucose molecules are released from all the wherever it can find the glucose stuff. And they are converted into pyruvic acid and ATP. This pyruvic acid will go into this mitochondria, which is also called as the powerhouse of the cell, because this pyruvic acid through electron transport, or basically when you breathe, take oxygen, eat food, it gives glucose. Glucose is converted into pyruvic acid, and that is converted into many more amount of ATP, and that is produced in mitochondria and then supplied throughout the body or supplied throughout the cell. And in cells, there are molecules which require ATP. And why ATP is because as you see in this small animation here, ATP has these three black dots you see, there are three phosphate molecules on it. The last phosphate, the third phosphate is a high energy bonds. All phosphate are high. So when a molecule uses this ATP, it uses that, it breaks that phosphate away and uses whatever energy it gets to function itself. And in the cell itself, there are so many molecules which can use this to function. And I have given some example, like for example, this is a molecule called as kinesin. It is a cargo protein, or it's a cargo where it will attach itself to some in your cell to transport stuff around your cell. It will attach itself and then walk all the membranes in or all the fibrils inside your cell. And whenever it walks one step, it requires an ATP. Another step requires an ATP. Same as your muscle. When you contract, this is what it is shown here, that ATP goes into that myosin and that energy release will allow you to contract. And then again, new ATP comes and it relaxes. So this is very few of the examples. If I have to make you understand, if I go back here inside a cell, which is structure or composite of everything, there are strands everywhere here. It's not just blank space. There are a bunch of strands right here made up of actin molecules and transport of molecules, transport of protein throughout the cell. So something which is made in nucleus and has to go here, those are carried by those cargo transporters, and they require ATP to take stuff from here to there. It requires in each muscle cell requires ATP to contract. So ATP in general is your currency. That is what is required by your whole body. And you get that only from glucose because your body is destined to break down glucose into pyruvic acid. If in case there is shortage of food, which is when you fast, the other thing is the fat lipolysis. The fat lipolysis, or whenever any stored fat is broken down, it goes back into this uh, pyruvate or pyruvic acid. It goes back here and gives you more ATP to function. But this glucose part is gone. It's just going directly here. It can survive for a while, but then it also needs glucose after a certain time. So it can go, but if your fat reserves are over, that's it. You need to eat. So technically, glucose is required, but you can survive with whatever fat reserves you have because you have another backup cycle which will break down your fats into this pyruvic acid, and then it will be converted into ATP by your mitochondria. But if you run out of that, that's it. You need to eat. So glucose is required, nothing else. Your body is made to digest that glucose. Or if anything else is a complex sugar will be made into glucose, and then glucose will be made into all this stuff to give you ADP. So that's why glucose is the source of energy, and it is required by several other molecules in your system. So hope this makes you understand why glucose and nothing else, because your cells are destined to digest glucose and form ATP and pyruvate. Pyruvate is the main byproduct which will make more ATP and make you function. And mitochondria is the main organelle where your ATP or your energy former is made. Um, and now you would think, why cannot I just consume ATP and get energy rather than I don't need my cells to make it? But that's not the case. ATP is highly reactive and highly unstable. You cannot just consume it. So if you say you're consuming 10 grams, by the time you consume it, it's broken down and it's not even ready. Like 10 grams you consume, maybe you will get 0.1 gram, which is available to your body. So ATP might not be, but sometimes people do consume uh, pyruvate or pyruvic acid. That is also in small amounts is good, but it has to go through your system and will go in your digestive route. But all other cells also need pyruvate. So you can consume it enough, but you cannot consume so much that it will supply all your body. But if you take glucose, that goes everywhere slow and seeps in because your pancreas makes insulin, and that insulin takes glucose from all the system, from all your blood and supplies to all the cells across your system. Okay, that's why it has been made. That's how your nature works, or that's how the nature of human body works, or technically all the mammal works. So with that, I would close up this video and I'll see you in the next one.